Welcome to the channel. This is Go Gretty, and welcome to the 2022-2023 Gran Turismo World Series Manufacturers Cup. After a very long hiatus, we're finally back. I jump into the GT1 League, and I grabbed a little bit stronger car for this series. Only a 3-race series. I decided to go ahead and just grab the Nissan. Seemed like it was a pretty strong car in the off-season, so went ahead and signed that contract, and it's going to be the Group 3 that I will be competing in here at the first race, which is a little bit of a spicy race, I must say. Got a little hot out there. Anyway, so stick around, check it out. It is Deep Forest reverse layout. All right, lobby opens up, and it looks like a good split. I don't know if it's top split or not, but TGT Benelli's in here, and he's a World Tour finalist and one of the fastest in the game. So if it's not the top split, it's at least a good split. So opportunity 4 points, but the problem is there's a lot of fast people in here. So on to qualifying, and we just got to kind of go over some things here. So if you look at the mini map up there in the right-hand corner, you can see how close the driver behind me is to me starting this lap. Now, that is none other than TGT Benelli, one of the world finalists. I'm like, why would you start that close behind a guy called Go Gretty that you've never seen on the World Tour? You might want to think about that again. Like, why would you start that close to me? I don't know. Anyway, so he's flashing his lights, and I'm like, look, this is my tires, the freshest right now. I'm on my out lap. You can go ahead and exit out and restart your lap. I mean, you're going to probably nail a freaking 122 anyway, so why do you care? Instead, he pushes me wide, pushes to pass there, and now I'm incensed. I'm like, what a jerk. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to give him a little push, and well, I missed. Did I hit the barricade? I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Why did I do that? So then I go to the settings menu, so I ghost out. Well, apparently you don't ghost out anymore when you go to the settings menu. So I ruined Spartan's qualifying here, so I felt terrible about that. I'm trying to stay over to the right-hand side and stay out of the way, and now I'm all discombobulated. And then I felt bad because he had to leave, and then I'm like, oh, crap, now I'm blocking the next guy coming through. I'm like, and all that because, I mean, come on, Benelli. You got to know that I'm not that fast. You might want to give yourself a little more gap to the guys that you've never heard of before. Just a thought. So anyway, end up qualifying in 14th. Not the greatest qualifying ever. I didn't seem to quite have my pace in the qualifying today. I've qualified with the 124, but I ended up qualifying with the 124.9. So a little off pace there on my qualifying, but you know, not a terrible lap. It was okay. So anyway, let's get on to the race. All right, finally, after what seems like forever, we get started with another Manufacturers Series race. My favorite series of all the Gran Turismo World Series races they put out. I don't know why I like the Manufacturers races so much. I just really do enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe it's the differences in all the cars. And, you know, you get all those strengths and weaknesses mixed together in this huge gumbo of humanity. And boy, you know, it just makes for great, exciting racing a lot of times. Other times, you know, you'll be one OP car and he just scampers off in the distance, and you're sitting there like, well, this sucks. But for the most part, it's usually pretty good. All right, so here at the beginning of the lap, all I want to do is keep in the slipstream right now, not make any mistakes. That's always my goal in the races. Try to make other people make the mistakes so that I can take advantage of those. Hence the Gretty pass. Now you see the smoke flying. That means someone hit somebody, and while we see someone going off the left there, I try to give him some room on the re-entry, give him enough room. He loses the rear end a little bit there. He's not trying to run me off the road or anything. Let's look at that again. As you see, Rodriguez going to the outside there. I think he just missed his break point just a hair. Nicks a couple other cars. Manages not to get into too much trouble. Does get a 2-second penalty for all of that, but doesn't murder anyone in the process. So he came out pretty clean there. Even lifted there to let the BMW by. So pretty good job there by Rodriguez to avoid what could have been a lot worse, I think, by just missing his brake marker or whatever it was that happened with him right there. I'm not really sure, but he got through it all right. So continuing on, we pick up a spot there. So now we are in P13 from P14. So we pick up a spot already here on lap 1. Now you see more smoke and cars skidding around as we go through the final corner. And now we got 3 wide as we're heading out the exit. And it looks like Sikkim gets pushed a little wide on the exit there. Let's see what happens. Now you see up front on the far left front, you see a Nissan go wide there. That's Will. He is coming back on the track right in front of Sikkim. Sikkim unfortunate to be where he was at that time. And then he's stuck on the outside of a 3 wide through the final corner. That doesn't work out well too often, and unfortunately gets pushed out to the wall there as I go by, and then one more driver able to go by, and even another one passes him before the end. I think he has some engine damage there, which really sucks. So I do pick up my first Gretty pass of the season right there, as Sikkim is the recipient of some really bad luck right there. So that sucks for him. I know how that feels. I've been in those situations before. I'm like, of all the people that had to be in that spot right then, it was me. So anyway, so I jump in here behind Myth Will, who kind of caused that kerfuffle up there at the front by going, looked like a little wide there. Not exactly sure how that happened, but he did go wide through that corner, got out wide, hit the wall, and came back on the track and caused some issues. Now, I am trying to stay in these guys' slipstream. For whatever reason, I just every time I get in someone's slipstream, I make just that one little mistake somewhere that ends up costing me the slipstream. And I think it's because I'm just out of practice, and I need to put in more practice. I've been doing a lot of time trial in the off season. Haven't been doing a lot of door-to-door racing. So unfortunately, I'm feeling that lack of practice right here. And this is a group of fast drivers. You can't be fooling around, not practicing. They will expose you as a fraud. As you see, I lose the rear end as I'm putting the power down on the Nissan. And now that's the one mistake I'm talking about. Look at that time build up past that 1 second gap. That's what's going to cost me positions, is I lose that slipstream because of one little mistake coming out of the final turn. And now I'm going to drop the slip, and then I end up falling back into the clutches, usually of someone who's right behind me. Now, I'm lucky for right now. I've got a pretty good gap to P13 there, about 2.3 seconds or so. So not terrible. Now, I do get a pretty good T1 there, turn 1. So I'm able to get back up in the slipstream, but not as close as I should be. And then I brake too late here and go wide. Another mistake. So making a lot of, not normal mistakes for Gretty here, as we're on lap number 3. And I am, again, losing that slipstream to the guys in front of me. I want to be right there with them because there's just so many cars up there. They're just ready to be, passed. Look, we've got 4 positions right there in front of me. So on to lap number 6. I just kind of sat in the middle here, about 1.5 seconds behind the folks in front. Just couldn't quite get back in that slipstream. And I had about 1.5 seconds on Sikkim, who you remembered earlier had some really bad luck here at the beginning of the race. So trying to put my head down. I'm on lap 6. This is what I'm going to pit. I can go 12 laps on the soft tire, and it holds up pretty well on the Nissan GTR, the 2013 edition, which is the one I am driving right now. So I'm going to jump into the pits here. Going to be super cautious not to cross that white line. That's a 3-second penalty. You don't want that. So go into the pits, pick the soft tires. I don't need fuel. Didn't need to save fuel in this race in the GTR. Some of the other cars you may have had to. Don't know. Not positive how their fuel saving was. But if you just didn't bang on the rev limiter too much here in the Nissan GTR, you got out okay as far as fuel was concerned. So coming out of the pits, I'm hoping just not to, there's not a whole lot of positions I can lose. I was already hit P13. So some folks went on as we came into the pits. So 3 of us came to the pits. So P13, 14, myself, 15, all came into the pits. I think P12 also came into the pits right there. All off of the hards onto the soft tires, trying to unload some of that fuel so I can get a little more longevity to my tire wear. If you haven't done that, if you don't know about that, so you want to try and get the car lighter, and you do that by reducing fuel load. So you can start off on the hard tires and reduce that fuel load, and then your soft tires will last a little bit longer. Now, if you're out front, you might want to start on the soft tires because you want to get away from all the mayhem that's going on behind you, all the craziness, all the spicy driving, like you might see it a little bit. All that spicy driving just slows you down. So you kind of want to get away from this. You might want to hop on those softs and skedaddle on out of there. So if I were starting in P1, P2, I'd probably be on the soft tires to start the race just to avoid all that mayhem. So here we are on lap number 7. Again, just falling out of the slipstream of P14 here. Now as we come around through the final corner, you're going to see someone jump into the pits there. As you see some folks starting to get into the pits here on lap 7. They're going to do 11 laps on the soft. So right there you see him make a pass as Fabricio, my Spanish is awful, goes into the pits. So I'll pick up my position back. So now I'm back into P14. And then a couple of the other folks stand out for even yet another lap, including Sikkim, who was behind us earlier. So he is going to be on 2-lap fresher tires when he comes back on. So there you see Sikkim, and you see Lead Sled going in the pits there on the end of lap 8 to come out on lap 9. Now, also now coming out in front of me is Fast Dan. Fast Dan already pretty quick in that Ford GT. And man, I tell you what, with these new soft tires, he's going to be even faster, as I have about a 2-lap wear on mine that he doesn't have. So want to, again, keep in his slipstream here. I'm within 7/10. If I can stay in it for a long time, it'll help me pull forward towards the guys in front of me instead of falling back into the clutches of those blue arrows you see behind the little red arrow on the mini-map. You don't want to fall into the clutches of those guys. Those guys want my very, very valuable P12 position, which is worth all kinds of points, I know, here in the GTWS, Gran Turismo World Series. And if you don't know points, so you get points based on your position and the rank of your lobby. So this is a very highly ranked lobby. So if you finish first here, you may get 365 points. If you finish last, you probably get like 175 or so. In my current position right now, probably worth around 200 points-ish. So not really a great amount of points for me in this spot. I'm hoping to get P11, P10 maybe, get up in the 220s, 230s would be more of what I would hope to get, but we shall see. We've got plenty of laps left. So here on lap number 10, you see I've fallen out of Fast Dan's slip, but he makes a mistake coming through turn 1, goes wide into the guardrail, pick up another Gretty pass as Fast Dan gets on the loud pedal a little too hard, a little too early there, lose the rear end. I was probably a little too hesitant on the old loud pedal coming out of turn 1. I was probably getting onto it a little too late, a little too soft. Probably why I was struggling coming out of that corner. Afraid I was going to spin out the rear end on this GTR. Now, with Fast Dan behind me, it's not all good. As you can see, I got 1.9 seconds back to him from me, and I know he's very fast on those fresher tires. As you can see, he's already dropped that gap down to under a second here on lap number 11, and you can see he is dragging along the little blue arrows with him, and those little blue arrows aren't just little blue arrows. They are my competitors in other race cars. Unfortunately, he is dragging them right up to my back bumper with his fresh soft tires and very fast Ford GTs. You can see in the rearview mirror right there, it is a gaggle of 3 cars, and those guys either had an issue or wrecked a little bit earlier, so I know they already had pretty good pace, but all I can do is keep my head down, eyes forward, put my car on the apexes, and hope for the best, because you never know what's going to happen. Especially when you have a group of 3 really close together like that. They can run each other off the road. They can get penalties. They can get engine damage. You just never know. So just don't panic. Hit your apexes, and if they get by you, they get by you. It's not the end of the world. The idea, though, is make them work for it. Just don't give it to them. Now, of course, if it's early in the race, you want to let them by so you're not fighting and you're saving time by just letting them by. That's one thing. But this is late in the race. We're on lap 12 here. There's really not anyone behind them. We're kind of at the back of the pack. So if they were to get by me here, there's really no one for me to defend against. So I may as well defend against them because, well, this is pretty much the end of the line. So I'm taking a little bit of a wide angle here, backside in the corner, because I don't have anyone to slipstream off of. So I'm trying to get really good exit speed here to try and pull out from the slipstream from Fast Dan. Trying to get away from him here as he is just coming up quick, and it's lap 13. That is 6 laps to go, essentially. So you got 13 through 18, 18 being a full lap. So that's 6 whole laps to hold these 3 guys off who have basically just eaten my lead down in no time at all. So there they are. They're on the back bumper. They're well within the slipstreams. You come down the back straight towards this right-hander. I go into the right-hander, do an okay job this time, dropping it down into first, up into third. Probably not quite carrying as much speed as I need to towards that outer apex. Wish wasn't quite so hard on the brakes through there. I hadn't gone into first. But anyway, Fast Dan comes up. He gets back on the rear bumper, and he is looking now to set me up. He doesn't have anyone alongside him like he did a couple laps ago that held him up. And he is just all over me, looking for a way by. And he is on 2-lap fresher soft tires. And he has pretty good pace as he qualified a good bit up in front of me. So he is right there. He is coming, and as we come down the straight here, I'm like, all right, there's no way I can defend this. There's really nothing I can do to keep him from getting by. So I'm just going to move to the inside here and just hope for the best as he goes around the outside, just slingshots it around there, and then he's going to have the inside in this corner. But then I'll have the inside on turn one, but unfortunately he goes by so easily there is no inside to turn one. Now I'm narrow here, so the GTR goes around the outside. I'm leaving some room on the outside. I don't want to squeeze him off the track there. He gets a little squirrely getting on the gas early and makes the move, drives around the outside. Does Fabricio there. Did I say that was right? So Fabricio drives around the outside of me in the same car. That is embarrassing. No, it's not embarrassing. That was a good move by him. And I was pinch tight there. Now, I get into the back bumper, so I let off just a little bit. Then I go slip right back in behind him here. And I hear the thunk noise. And I'm like, uh-oh. I believe that I caught the front end of Sikkim with the rear of my car there. Let's look at that again. As I come around here, you can see I feel like I've got the gap there. So I'm just going to slide in here behind Rodriguez or Fabricio. And as I'm coming through there, you can see his front spoiler just catches the rear bumper of my car, and he goes and he hits a bad part of the wall right there. It's got a little piece that sticks out, and so that just basically almost brings him to a dead stop. Now, I did feel bad about it, and I was thinking, why was he sticking his nose in right? This is a terrible place to stick your nose. And it is a racing incident. It definitely was not intentional. And then I do a downshift right here, and I make that mistake again right there, downshift. I should not have downshift right there. Should have been pinned and forth. And because I was thinking about what happened with Sikkim, I was like, oh man, it stunk, but it definitely wasn't anything that I did intentional. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Should I have stopped right there? I thought it was a racing incident. I could be wrong there. But I do get another weird Gretty pass during the race. Someone must have quit the race, rage quit. We move up another spot into P12 from P13. So on to lap number 17. You can see Sikkim there fighting his way back again after an incident in the race. He has just not had any luck at all in this race as far as making contact with other cars. And you can see his tires there. Now look at my tires right after that. Oof, my tires do not look good. And I've got to defend for another lap from Sikkim. So he is going to be coming up pretty fast here. He's in the slipstream now. Now the Mitsubishi doesn't have the longest legs. GTR a little bit better on top end. It's no golden child there in the top end either, but it's definitely better than the Mitsu. So as we head towards turn one, the question is, how close will he be? Will he be close enough to make something happen on the back straight? That is the question. So I get on the brakes there, drop it down into first, and go a little bit deep, but not too terrible. Able to carry a little bit of speed through that corner, get back up in gears. I've got a 4/10 gap on him heading towards the turn here at the end of the long tunnel system. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm like, if I can make this corner here without him getting underneath me, I'm pretty sure I can take the rest of the lap without too much trouble. Really hard to pass in this section of track. So got through there. He didn't quite make up enough room to get underneath me on the underside. And so looking good. So now we just got to get through this, hit our apexes, not making mistakes. Get on the brakes here right by the tunnels. I'm coming through the other end. Bam! He hits me from behind. Push to pass. I'm like, no, sir, we're not going to play that game. So I put it to him, got the revenge hit there. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments. Let's look at that again. Felt bad for Sikkim because of some of the things that happened to him in the race, but, well, you got to do what you got to do to let folks know you're just not going to get pushed around on the track. And that's what I did here. If you disagree, let me know. I'd like to hear what you think. Until then, enjoy these final two replays. So there it was, Naughty Gretty. Luckily, Santa has already came, so I don't have to worry about coal in my stockings until next Christmas. Anyway, like I said, let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe it was too much. It may have been. I could take some constructive criticism. I'm not beyond that or above that. Anyway, well, let me know. So end up finishing the race in P12. Yes, all of that for position number 12. And, well, a pretty paltry and measly 205 points, which you will see right there in P12 at the bottom, 205 points. So Hope Sikkim went on later that evening and got a good result in a later race. I know he had a pretty rough race, and I'm sure the ending with me didn't make it any better. But hope you enjoyed the race and all the action. Hope your manufacturer's race went well also. For myself, Go Gretty, y'all have a great evening. DJ Clean, take us out.